And you are live.
All righty. Thanks, Colleen, and good morning. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is another Saturday. It is July 9th, 2016. And my guest today is Jim Nichols. And I'm going to go ahead and read his bio. Excuse me. And Colleen, I have put a lot of his site addies in Skype. I think it's in the Skype that you and I have alone. So in case you want to get those. Okay, so Jim's bio is, he's a year younger than I am. Jim was born in 1948 and spent the first 20 years of his life growing up in Fostoria, Ohio, where he quietly fulfilled his public school obligation without fanfare. However, by his senior year of high school, Jim discovered he possessed an innate ambition to become an artist. To pursue his interest, Jim enrolled for a Bachelor of Fine Arts program at Bowling Green State University in 1967. Unfortunately, this schooling was interrupted in 1969 by the military draft. But despite 2 years of Army service, he managed to complete a correspondence course in commercial art. And he's got a nice looking picture in his website where he's in his uniform. Oh. You know, men in uniform. Woo, doggy. Following his discharge, Jim resettled in Tucson, Arizona in 1972, where he made something of a name for himself over the next 8 years, painting southwestern landscapes. And I'm looking at a beautiful one. It's hard to believe that was painted even. Wow. In 1980, his association with a world-renowned UFO researcher, Lieutenant Colonel Wendell Stevens, who's retired, inspired Jim to launch into serious UFO illustrations, producing an extraordinary body of work that has since been published internationally in magazines, articles, books, and the Internet. His art was routinely featured on the History Channel's UFO Hunters, and I watched those. As well, the notoriety he gained as a UFO artist earned him a co-host seat on a weekly Tucson public access television program entitled UFOAZ Talks, produced by Ted Lohman. This popular award-winning program ran from 1991 through 1997 and was aired across the country. After 30 years of UFO research, Jim has become a prolific writer, posting 21 blog essays on his website, examining exopolitics, the political and social impact of a possible extraterrestrial reality. As well, in his art book, Case Files Revealed, he shares the untold stories behind 40 of his most dramatic UFO illustrations, which are based on actual accounts. Jim is also winner of 2 EBE awards at 2010's International UFO Conference in Laughlin, Nevada, for his video documentary about Nazi saucers entitled, now I'm not sure I'm saying this right, but it's the Aldebaran Mystery.
That's close to the Aldebaran Mystery, yeah.
Aldebaran. Following this conference, thank you, Jim, Jim has produced numerous videos for UFO TV, which are now posted on YouTube. And we're going to post his site stuff in the chat, so hold on, folks. Currently, Jim continues his research, which he showcases monthly at his Quantum Horizons meetup in Tucson. More recently, Jim has devoted his creativity to video journalism, producing numerous video documentaries based on his blog essays, one of which, entitled The Aldebaran, how he said it, The Aldebaran Mystery,
That's close enough,
earned 2 EVE awards at 2010's International UFO Conference in Laughlin, Nevada. This production, as well as 10 more of Jim's UFO-related video essays, are now presented by UFO TV on YouTube. His latest production is UFOs, Atom Bombs, and the Quest for Absolute Power. We're going to post that site so you'll get it. These presentations can be either viewed on UFO TV YouTube or read as blogs on his website, which we're going to post, so hold on there, folks. Books are Case Files Revealed and Persistence of Memory, available at Lulu, that's LULU.com. Also visit my latest 6-video Exopolitics miniseries at Jim Nichols UFO Video, now on YouTube, and we're going to post that site too. So, oh my goodness, if you go to his site, you're going to see he, you know how we say we have a shitload of archives? Well, Jim has a shitload of stuff you can go listen to.
Putting it bluntly, absolutely. That's for sure.
It includes things like Growing Up with Flying Saucers, The Message, Briefing Paper, Archon Space Invaders, UFO Disclosure, let's go, Global Control Endgame, which might tie into the next show, Transhumanism, Rise of the Cyborgs. There's a whole bunch of them, folks. Be sure you go to his website and check it out. Oh man, it's incredible. I was checking it out last week and the week before I went on there, but I wasn't feeling so good, so I wasn't retaining things. So I went there again today and checked it out. Let me see if I can just quickly post those things for you. Hold on. Okay, oops, I undid it, and I wanted to did it. Copy, and I'm going to go to WSR and paste, and hopefully it'll, there you go. It's in the chat site, chat room. So, Jim, let me say the ads before we get into it so we don't have to be interrupted. Mm-hmm. This is a listener-supported radio station. Well, there's 2 of them actually. HSR, which is Hagee Shack Radio, and Colleen, she does her thing through that one and gets WSR, which is Wolf Spirit Radio, on the air. She simulcasts. So they both have donation buttons, so please, if you can give, please donate. Your donations go strictly to the running of the stations. Nobody gets paid any salaries here. Jim's not getting paid. I'm not getting paid. Nancy doesn't get paid. JP doesn't, Colleen doesn't. So your monies go strictly to the running of the station so that we can bring you all shows like this. Also, we have archives that are free for the first week after this show airs live. And then after that week, they go into the archives where you pay $5 a month subscription. And it is not automatically renewed. You will get a reminder in your emails saying that your month is about up, and if you want to continue, you'll need to do it. Pay $5 more. What else? Oh, yes. And we love questions and comments. Please put them in all caps in the chat room, because that draws our attention to the fact that you're trying to communicate with us and you're not just chit-chatting with the other chatters in there. So, okay, Jim. Thank you for
Hello,
coming
Dolly.
on. Hello.
Dolly. How are you, darling? Are you feeling better today?
Yes, this is a day where I'm feeling a lot stronger. I'm able to talk today.
Well, you sound pretty good today.
Thank
Dolly,
you.
where am I talking to you from? Where are you? You're back east? Where?
I am in Venice, Florida.
Okay.
It is about 18 miles south of Sarasota.
Okay.
45 minutes north of Fort Myers.
Okay. Is that on the Atlantic side or the Gulf side?
Gulf side.
Gulf side, okay.
Yeah.
I've been to Gulf Breeze.
Oh, I
far from Gulf
haven't.
Breeze?
Yeah.
I've been to Pensacola and Gulf Breeze.
Those are way north of me.
Okay. Yeah, I did, about 5 years ago, I did a presentation down there in the Gulf area. I've never been to the Atlantic side, but I've been to the Gulf, Florida Gulf, so.
It's completely different.
Absolutely, yeah. You're looking for the the palm trees and the surf, and it's just not there on the Gulf side. But, the Gulf has its own charm anyway, so.
Well, we have the palm trees, but we don't have the surf like the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
The Gulf is a lot calmer.
Absolutely, yeah.
Except in hurricane season.
Hurricane season. Yeah, I was, I was there in, it was January, and, big storm, big winter storm was bearing down on us. And, actually it was colder in Florida than it was in Tucson where I left from. So yeah, I'm here in Tucson, Arizona, and it's a lovely sunny 105 degrees here today.
Mm.
And, standard fare for July in Tucson.
We have had, according to Annette, higher than usual temperatures lately here. I know that our AC is just having fits trying to keep up in the afternoon. We set it at 74 and it gets 81 in here.
Mm-hmm. With the humidity, that's gotta be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I grew up in Ohio where, we'd have 80 degrees but 100% humidity in the summer. And, so, I can appreciate that.
I was actually born in Toledo, Ohio.
Oh, just up the road.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Small world.
So Bowling Green and Findlay and Fostoria. I'll bet all those little towns up there. Yeah, okay. So we know what we're talking about here.
Right.
Very good.
So Jim, I'm going to ask a stupid question. I know it's a stupid question, but other people don't know this either. Have you ever had a UFO actual experience of your own?
Not like I would like to have. I mean, a year ago, 4th of July, I saw my first legitimate UFO in the night sky here over Tucson. It was, not terribly spectacular, but it was a bright, strangely shining red object that seemed to be spinning. And we were outside watching fireworks that night with my nephew, and we saw this red light. And what was interesting is that it was completely overcast that night. So it was obviously not a star. So we watched it, and then my nephew got his binoculars, and he looked at it a little bit closer, and it looked like, looked like two little red lights spinning around each other.
Wow.
And it was just hanging in the sky. And no sooner had he looked at him with his binoculars, and we watched it I had watched it for probably a minute, 2 or 3 minutes. And all of a sudden it just, boom, it just took off like a shot straight north and completely disappeared. So I said, well, that is an unidentified flying object. So yeah. So after all these years, I said, well, there it is. I finally saw what I could legitimately call a UFO. But as a kid growing up in the 50s, what I want to see is a real deal flying saucer. And for me, until I see a flying saucer, lights in the night sky just don't excite me.
I saw one of those UFOs, but it wasn't the saucer shape. It was more like two teacups sitting with their lips together, except it had some space in between and lights going around that space. And of course lights all over. This was over Camp Pendleton.
Okay.
And it was back in, I was married in 67. It had to be late 67 or early 68. And we were on base and stranded on base. A cab was supposed to come pick us up and it never made it to us. So the MP was taking us off to the bus station. And as we came around the mountain, there was that UFO and it looked like it was in trouble. It was so close, Jim, that I felt like if I reached my arm out the window, I could touch it.
Okay.
It was humongous.
Humongous, right.
And all lit up, and it looked like it was on fire, because fire things kept
Well, why did you get
out
to see stuff like that and I don't? I'm stuck just having to paint pictures of them. The only way I can see them the way I want to see them is to paint pictures of them. And that's really one of the reasons why I became an artist. Cause I was, when you're a kid, you're growing up and you see all these books about UFOs and flying saucers and you get really excited and you open up the book and there's no pictures at all. All they do is talk about them. I said, well, damn it, I want to see them. Don't talk about it. I want to see it. UFO is, a visual experience.
It is.
So that's one of the reasons why I became a UFO artist. Where is Camp Pendleton, by the way? Is that in California?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I think the name of the town is Oakland or Oceanside, so one of those. I can't remember which, but the MP was taking us to the bus station there, but they closed the base down.
Really?
And they came across
because
the radio.
Of the UFO?
Yeah.
No fooling.
And they came across the radio and said, get those civilians off base. We got it locked down.
When was this, Dolly?
It was in either like September or October of the latter part of 67, the early part. I'm thinking it was 67, the latter part of 67.
Wow, okay.
But it was so long ago, and I didn't really remember except for a couple times throughout the years. And so I finally decided I had remembered, and it came to me so like it was happening. And so I drew pictures of it, contacted MUFON, and the guy was all excited. He called me and interviewed me a couple times, but I never heard another word from him.
Really?
And when it happened, I was looking on all the media, looked in the newspapers, not one word about it.
Right. That's standard fare. It's always the big secret. Did you sense it was from outer space?
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe it was. Okay. In those days, we accepted anything like that automatically as from outer space. These days, we're not so sure.
Well, I was right beside it, kinda.
Right.
It was that low in the sky, and we were that high in a mountain that if I could have reached my arm out, I thought I could touch the middle section of it.
Okay.
But the middle section of it was humongous. I can't even describe how big it was. It was. I wondered how it fit where it was in the sky.
No kidding.
And I wondered what is keeping it up in the sky and not making it fall to the ground because of all the fire stuff.
And it's just hovering there, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
But I kept thinking I was hearing people running around and hollering fire in there. And so I was very concerned about the beings in that ship.
Okay.
But then there it was. That's it. That's all there is.
Did you see it fly away, or did it just disappear? Or what happened to it? We went around the other side of the mountain. I don't know what happened to it. The MP wouldn't stop. Okay, all right. Okay.
He took us off base.
Gotcha, okay.
And so therefore it ended up being on the other side of the mountain than what we were on. Frustrating.
Now, is Pendleton close to a major Air Force base? Do you know?
Camp Pendleton. It has its own Air Force stuff. Its own airplane.
Oops. Well, there's a kicker right there. Okay. Very interesting. Interesting.
We have a question.
Sure.
If he doesn't or hasn't seen them, how does he paint them? Just using imagination?
Oh, no, we have other ways. Some of it's imagination, some of it's eyewitness accounts, some of it's photographs, and I don't just, on occasion I do, just for fun, or I get ideas from movies or science fiction material. All the above. I get all kind of sources of ideas for UFO artwork. But I primarily became involved, like in 1980, working with Wendell Stevens, who at that time he was a retired Air Force lieutenant colonel, former pilot, who had been researching for 20 years, and he had the world's largest archive of UFO photographs.
Wow.
So a lot of I had access to his photographs and so forth. Mm-hmm. And his the eyewitness accounts that he had investigated. So that's really when I really seriously became involved in actual UFO illustrations.
And just your interest in them is what's kept you doing it?
Well, have you heard of the Billy Meyer UFO case in Switzerland?
No.
No. Okay. Well, that's the kicker. And if you can read, I have some blogs on my website. Let me see here. Go back to my home page here. Yeah, I have a blog here called The Message. Go to my blog called The Message, and I think I have a video that goes with this. Which is all about the Billy Meyer UFO contact in Switzerland, which was being investigated by, primary investigator Wendell Stevens right here in Tucson, Arizona. By 1980, I think he'd made at least 2, maybe 3 trips to Switzerland, investigating the story of a one-armed Swiss farmer who was riding around on his moped, who took the most spectacular UFO pictures in all history. And so Wendell Stevens, paid for his own way over to Switzerland to investigate this case firsthand. And it was that case, the Billy Meyer contact in Switzerland, and all the incredible photographs that were linked with that story that really kind of excited me and got me totally involved in UFO research at the time.
Wow, I just posted it in the chat so that people can take a look at it.
Right.
See how close that one was? The other one, the one I was telling you about, it was even closer to me.
Closer, yeah.
Yeah, and of course it was elongated. It wasn't like the saucer thing here.
Right. So you're at that blog page, right?
Yes.
Okay, now if you kind of scroll down just a little bit there, you'll see a painting actually, of that UFO parked on the ground with a young woman standing in front of it. Can you see that?
I'm getting there. I'm seeing people at a table. Hold on.
Yeah, keep going.
There it is overhead. Planet Earth. I see that.
Yes. Now that was the first serious UFO illustration I did for Wendell Stevens. While he was investigating this case, one of the peculiar aspects of it was that the Billy Meyer, the contactee, was never allowed to photograph the craft landed on the ground, or the pilots, the people who were flying the thing. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, Wendell, I can do that for you, based on the photographs that you've got, plus your pictures of Billy Meyer, and plus his description of the young lady who was flying this machine. I can do a rendering or a painting that will help to illustrate your investigation. So this is my, this is 1980, this is my first launch into serious UFO illustration right here.
Wow. It looks so real to me.
Yeah, I wanted to make it, photorealistic so it makes you feel like you're participating in this contact experience along with the contactee.
So who's the lady in the picture?
Well, the lady in the picture claims to be from the Pleiades star system, 500 light years away from planet Earth. And for whatever reason, very human. Yep, they're human. He says the only difference is they live to be about 1,000 years old.
1,000 years old.
So she was a very youthful 300 years, and she looked to be like 28 or 30.
Yeah, she does.
Yes.
Was she the pilot? Was she the only one in that saucer?
This is kind of based on his first contact experience, and she was the only one that he met on that first contact. And she claimed that her name was Semyasi, and that she comes from the Pleiades. And Billy had over 150 contacts with these beings after that, and he met with both male and female. She told him that it was easier for females to approach Earth humans because they appeared less threatening. They had to be very, very careful.
Makes sense.
Earth humans tend to be a little reactionary, and they spook on this kind of stuff. But anyway, this is an extraordinary case. And Wendell had, he had 20 years experience in UFO research already. And they had, with the contact that Billy Meyer had, is probably, as Wendell said it, had the most physical evidence that they could examine in any case he'd ever come across. There were landing tracks, there were metal samples, of course there were the photographs, and there were sound recordings, which, under examination at that point in time, seemed to lend credence to Meyer's story that he was in fact being visited by somebody from somewhere that couldn't be accounted for. Now, whether they really came from the Pleiades or that's his imagination, nobody could prove that. But they did sufficiently prove that, he did photograph an object, a strange object that seemed to be about 21 feet in diameter. It was photographed at some distance from the camera. And even the landing tracks, there was an energy field of about a 20-foot circumference around the landing tracks. So it's like that much they could pretty much prove that, Billy really is having some kind of a strange experience here. But whether they were really from the Pleiades is,
right,
purely Billy's say-so.
Did he ever get on a ship?
Yes. Yes. He claimed they would have multiple visits and travels with these Pleiadians, and on and off planet and around the planet, and back and forth in time also. So his story, and he's written. There are 4 books called Messages from the Pleiades, which are essentially Billy's contact notes that give the account of his entire experience interacting with these beings from the Pleiades, and it's absolutely fascinating. And even if he's a liar, he's a great novelist because the stories in themselves are incredible.
Wow.
So you can see that, I'm just a kid. In 1980, I'm just a kid, and I'm talking to a retired lieutenant colonel from the Air Force, and he's telling me all this stuff and showing me the evidence. And it's like, bingo, that hooked me right there. I said, okay, I got to know more about this stuff. So it's been that triggered, my own personal odyssey that I've been on for 35 years now.
What made him put so much faith in you?
In me?
Yeah, because you're
Wendell?
just a kid and he's a colonel, and
Well, he was impressed by my artwork, and this is another little story. Shoot. He was investigating another case in, I think, South Carolina. There was a gentleman back there by the name of Bill Herman who claimed to be having ongoing extraterrestrial contact. And Wendell had photographs of the UFOs that Bill Herman claimed that he was in contact with. Well, when I first met Wendell, I didn't know who Bill Herman was. I had never heard of it. And I only had one little 5x7 UFO painting that I could show Wendell. And it's just a picture of a desert scene with Joshua trees and 3 UFOs hovering in the sky in the background. And Wendell looked at that picture. He says, "Where'd you get the idea to do the saucers?" I looked at him and said, "I don't know. I just made it up." He says, "Are you sure?" I says, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure." And then he showed me the photograph of the UFO from South Carolina, and they were identical.
Jim, do you think UFOs... you're a little psychic?
Well, that's what Wendell said. He says, "Are you sure you're not channeling this stuff?" And I said, "Well,
yeah.
Absolutely not that I'm aware of at all." But Wendell was so impressed. He was so impressed by that dumb little painting that he said, "Yeah." He says he thought it'd be okay if I did some artwork for him.
Well, it had to have blown him away.
Well,
with what you were saying. Oh no, you had.
He seemed rather flabbergasted by it.
I am too.
What the heck? UFO's a UFO. Ain't no big deal to me, but. But yeah, thinking back on it now, I said, wow, it really impressed Wendell. He says, "How did you come up with this idea?" So I had no idea. It just seemed like a cool design, and so I ran with it.
So I'm wondering if he did some research on you. Do a little checking you out.
He may have. But there wasn't much research to do. I only rose to the rank of PFC in the Army, and I only stayed in for 2 years and was happy to get out. And I have no military background, no military intelligence background. In fact, I always thought military intelligence was a contradiction in terms. But anyway, no, I think I proved myself to him with this first painting.
Yeah.
First painting, and actually, a few years later, they did a video documentary about Billy Meyer, and I noticed that they had made a blow up of this particular painting, and it was on the wall in Billy's study. So I think I'm pretty much impressed both Billy Meyer and Wendell, about my artist skills here. So, and this painting's it's all over the internet, and it's been one of the most popular paintings that I've ever done.
Well, that's pretty cool, and you're still alive to enjoy it.
And you're still here kicking the tall tale here, right?
Yes, and to enjoy that people are seeing your work.
Yeah.
With these days, you just never know.
Well, yeah.
They could look at that and think, "Oh my gosh, he's had personal experience," and try to find out what you know.
That's a good point, because I wanted to have that experience with Billy more than you can imagine. I wanted to go to Switzerland, and I wanted to see that spaceship come down and land just exactly like that. And unfortunately, this is as close as I ever got.
Wow.
But I wanted to put myself into that as if I was standing there with Billy, actually watching this event unfold. I think I did a pretty fair job.
I think you did an excellent job.
Thank you.
Really? You're such a good artist.
Oh, thank you.
Do you sell your art things? Your art paintings?
Yeah, I do have, some prints that I do have that are available, but, I've gotten more into the video production, which, over the last 5 or 6 years has become, even more challenging and more, satisfying, creatively than actually doing the artwork anymore.
Oh, you'll have to tell us about how you do your video stuff.
Yes, I can combine artwork and text and video and film footage and music and everything and make documentaries about all this stuff. And that's to me been the most rewarding challenge so far creatively.
Now, do you do these videos all by yourself, or do you have people who help you?
That would be nice. I wish I did. No, I've learned how to do it myself. And, I've had great, we talked about the Aldebaran mystery, which is the first video I did back in 2010. And I produced that kind of as a demo video that was aired, they showed at the film festival at the 2010 World UFO Congress in Laughlin, Nevada, thinking that I would, maybe I could get the attention of serious film producers like the people who do History Channel or Ancient Aliens and stuff like that. I would love to see my videos professionally produced, and that's still a dream I have. But much to my surprise, my Aldebaran mystery won 2 EB awards on its own merit. And I connected with a guy in California who has the UFO TV YouTube website. And so he loved it, and he put it up on his website, and I've just been providing them with videos ever since.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
I would think that would get attention that you were looking for.
Well, it's gotten some attention. I have over 5 million views on YouTube of all my videos. So it's like they're significantly popular on UFO TV YouTube.
Uh-huh.
So that's very rewarding. I'm pleased to do that, and plan to do more.
Well, this is a good stopping point. I would like to stop here and take our break. It's not quite the top of the hour, but I would like to be able to come back and just have uninterrupted conversation. So, Colleen?
Yes?
Oh, she's there. Thank you, Angel.
She didn't doze off again. Good girl.
No, she made coffee and...
Good.
Oh, hey, Jim, do
Yes.
you believe in angels?
Angels, demons, aliens, you name it, they're all there.
Okay, I gotta make myself a note. When we come back, remind me I want to talk to you about angels.
Mm-hmm.
Colleen, can you take us away for a break?
I sure can. It'll be about 3.5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
See you on the other side. All right. We're back, right, Colleen?
We are back.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Hey, Jim, I remembered the angels. Believe it or not, I remembered something.
Okay.
I was just introduced by Christia Cummings-Slack. She's an angel medium. Mm-hmm. I was introduced to the fact that angels want us to ask them to help them, or us to help us. And they can't help us unless we ask them to help us. Well, they can, but I mean, for certain things we need to ask. But, so you're wanting so much to meet a UFO. I was thinking, maybe if you ask your angels, could they possibly arrange for a meeting of some sort with you and UFO or alien beings, and let it be for the highest and best of all concerned, and then thank them? Maybe something like that could happen for you.
Well, I think they already told me about that.
Oh, how? You gotta explain that to me.
I've got to explain that one. Let me explain that. Let's go back to that picture we were looking at.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, this is I don't talk about this much, but I will share it with you. After I did that painting, I had a dream. And you know that angels and aliens can speak to you sometimes easier in a dream than in your everyday life. I had a dream where the Pleiadians, I'd assumed it was the Pleiadians. They didn't say, "Hey Jim, we're the Pleiadians." No, there was just this awareness, this presence in my mind, and they were very emphatically thanking me for having done that painting. Mm-hmm. And I thought, wow, this is well. I was just, it was my pleasure, it was my great honor to do that. And I think, like I mentioned before, the thing that I wanted most of all in the world at that point in time was to stand there with Billy Meyer and see the Pleiadians come down and actually get to meet a Pleiadian face to face, right?
Uh-huh.
So their message in the dream, there was a very important message, and they were absolutely adamant about me remembering it. And so they opened up this book. I never saw the face, or I never saw people, but I saw this book open up, and there was a line in the book that I was supposed to read and remember. So I would read the line and say, yeah, I got it. They said, no, you are not remembering it. And they were not going to let up until I left that dream absolutely remembering what that line was. So I'd read it again and say, yeah, I got it. And they said, no, you are not remembering it. And so this went on 3 or 4 times. And finally they took the words in a diagonal across the page rather than, going down the page in a diagonal rather than reading it in a regular sentence. And the words jumped out at me this time, and I've never forgotten them. But the words were, that which you want, you are.
Oh, I like that.
That which you want, you are. So it's like, I said, why do you want to meet a Pleiadian since you already are one? Duh.
Wow.
So, I could take that, I could be really egotistical with that and say, oh, I'm special, I'm a Pleiadian. But then it kind of dawned on me later on. It says, no. It's like, no, it's like we are, and this is the other thing that they wanted to emphasize in the dream. It's like, we are no better than you. We are no different than you. We are all the same consciousness. So whether I live in planet Earth or whether I live in the Pleiades, it's like we are all one. That which you want, you are. Mm-hmm. So it's like, don't think that we're any more special than you are. So that was kind of the message that it's kind of over the years I've gotten a little bit more wisdom about this. And it's like, I can see that now. It's like, well, yeah, you can see a razzle-dazzle flying saucer. We can stand out and talk to you, tell you all about our life in the Pleiades. But at the end of the day, we're just expressions of the same consciousness. So I thought, oh, okay. And I have never forgotten that to this day. And to me, it's probably the most profound message I've ever gained in all my research.
So did that satisfy your need or want to interact?
Well, on one level, yes, but then on another level, there's still that 1950s kid in me that wants to see the flying saucers for real. And so, but it's like,
I would tend to want that too.
Are you too dazzled? Don't get so taken up in the razzle-dazzle technology, because at the end of the day, it's no big deal. It's just another vehicle, a car, a plane, a UFO, it's all whatever. So, yeah, I think, and it was that message was to make me be a little bit more, to gain a little bit more wisdom in a larger context about the whole UFO phenomenon. And so I think it's helped me, just that in itself has helped me, myself personally, to view this whole phenomenon from a larger context.
So, okay, we got a question. Let me address it. How does one become an expert in UFOs when he hasn't seen one? Is there some, did we have this, is there some schooling for it where one would learn from others who have experience with them?
Wow. Well, I didn't go to UFOU, if that's what you mean. I didn't go to UFO University. No, this is, my goodness. This is.
How'd you get all your years of experience?
Following my own curiosity, talking with people who have had experiences, doing the research,
by research, you mean
reading the books, talking to the people who've had the experiences, studying the technologies that our own government has developed since the 50s, since the 40s, since World War II. And, there are huge stories out there. It's like, we're referencing my German saucer mystery, the Aldebaran mystery. There's a whole aspect to this UFO phenomenon that suggests that the flying saucers are not necessarily extraterrestrial at all, but were secretly developed in Germany during World War II.
Yeah.
So, it's...
I think a lot of that is, I think there's a lot that we see in the skies that really was developed by us here on this Earth.
Absolutely. I mean, back in the late 1950s, Dolly, there were chronic UFO reports all over the country that turned out to be the top secret U-2 spy plane. That the government said, oh, no such thing as that ever existed. Oh, no, we don't have a U-2 spy plane, until one got shot down over Russia and made Dwight Eisenhower look like a fool. It's like, and he had to admit to the entire country, oh yeah, well, we've been flying these for a long time. And where have we been flying them from? Area 51. So, so it's like, okay, so you have to ask the question, has the government itself been straight with us about secret aircraft and secret projects and so forth? And, in 1945, just before you and I were born, they said there was no such thing as an atomic bomb. That's the public's imagination, until they blew up Nagasaki and Hiroshima, and then, oops, we're sorry. Yeah, we did make an atomic bomb. So it's like, how much credibility, does the Defense Department have anymore, with stunts like that? So, and even my dear friend Wendell Stevens, bless his heart, when I met Wendell in 1980, he had been researching UFOs for 20 years already, since the end of World War II. And he was utterly convinced when I first met him that UFOs are definitely extraterrestrial. But 20 years later, after all this additional information came out about the Nazi saucer projects and how those projects got folded into our own American defense projects, Wendell says, I don't know anymore. He says, I can't really give you a solid answer. He says, I don't know if they're from outer space anymore. And after 40 years of research, it's like the more Wendell researched, it's like the more you research, the less you know. Because more and more secret stuff, comes out. More and more secret stuff, just drifts out into public domain. And a lot of stuff after the fall of the Soviet Union and the collapse of the Soviet Russia, a lot of secret documentation about what the Germans were doing during World War II has made its way into the public. So it's like, well, are UFOs from outer space? Well, I say some of them are, but I wouldn't say that all of them are. I say a lot of them are from right here on planet Earth. But then that's the flip side of that is that, well, if we're a Defense Department and we want to secretly fly top secret aircraft and not tell the public that they're ours, well, it would be useful to let the public believe that they're from outer space. Just like that thing that sashayed over Phoenix in 1997. Everybody assumes, well, that's from outer space. Well, maybe and maybe not.
Well, I was going to say, what is your take on that?
Maybe or maybe not. I think it's a toss of the coin. It could be ours. It could be theirs. It could be a combination of both. It could be a combination of alien technology that we have incorporated into our own projects. So, after 35 years, that's where my UFO research has taken me.
So in your research, have you ever come across where you've had proof that aliens are working with us? With humans?
Proof, no.
Have you ever run across a statement like that?
No proof, but tons of conjecture.
Tons
of conjecture. Okay. Recently I came across, I don't know if you're familiar with terrific researcher Joseph Farrell. Joseph Farrell is an Oxford scholar and college professor and brilliant researcher.
I believe I've heard that name.
But I think in one of his books, Reich of the Black Sun, he posted a quote from Nikola Tesla. You know who Nikola Tesla is?
Yes, I know that one.
Yes. Nikola Tesla posted in the New York Times in 1908, the fundamental technology for developing anti-gravity flying machines, time travel, space travel. He described the fundamental physics of that in the New York Times in 1908. Now, any physicist with half a nickel's worth of brains could have taken those concepts and worked them out in a laboratory over all the years since then to prove that Mr. Tesla was right. But these
why haven't they, do you think?
I think they have. But the technologies would probably put the oil companies out of business. Oh. And they're not about to be put out of business. That's a $2 trillion, cash cow for the petroleum industry, and they're not about to piss that away. So it's like, there's technologies out there. And I think that, it's becoming fairly obvious to a lot of people in the know that, we could have had UFOs, we could have had our own flying machines, anti-gravity machines, anti-gravity automobiles 100 years ago. But petroleum companies, the monopoly of the petroleum companies, and their own profit-driven incentives would not allow that, and still do not allow that.
Right. Right. I just had a mind-blowing experience today, and what I learned with that mind-blowing thing makes me question what we've just said, but I don't want to ruin what's coming up on Say What. So I'm having trouble not saying more about what you just said.
Okay.
Because it's very, very interesting. What Tesla did could have made everyone's lives so much easier in one way or another with all the things he's done.
Yes.
And I wonder sometimes if on a different timeline, if some or all of what he developed or discovered or thought of was ever done. But
that's a really good question, Dolly. Very good question. But it was a two-edged sword because his technologies were so advanced, so incredible. But in the hands of the wrong people, they could have absolutely been way more dangerous than atomic bombs. Way more dangerous. So it's like you have to have a sense of moral responsibility also to use these technologies properly. Right. And if you look at the state of the world and it's in today, I don't think there are leaders out there that have that moral compass that could use these technologies to the benefit of the public. And Tesla himself, he said that technology could only be called progress if it was used to benefit all of humanity.
Yeah. That was a pretty great man.
Yeah, he's an extraordinary man.
Do you think that he had contact with aliens?
Yeah, he had contact with somebody, somewhere, some way, somehow. And he kind of intimated that when he was working in Colorado Springs. And I think that's one of the reasons why there was such a huge effort to really silence him and to make him a non-person historically. Because he kind of let the cat out of the bag that, it's like, there's other intelligences out there, whether aliens or hyperdimensional or whatever, that he knew he could contact with. And he knew that he was getting the information from them. Now, it's interesting because at around the same time, between World War I and World War II, there was a group in Germany called the Vril Society, who were also claimed to be making contact with extraterrestrials or extra-dimensionals, who were giving them technologies that were very, very similar, if not identical, to the technologies that Tesla was having access to. So this wasn't just an isolated thing with Tesla. There were other people on the planet in those same time frame that were getting similar technologies.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, sometimes I can really focus in on research, and one day I did that good research, and I saw where it wasn't just Tesla who was getting a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But then I also saw that these other people were prohibited from carrying through with it too, which made me think, why? Who's putting a stop to it? Who's saying, no, we can't go there with this stuff?
Well, I don't think it's quite that simple. Yeah, you can go there with this stuff, and we want you to push it to the limit, but we just can't go public with it. We can't go public. The public can't know about this.
Yeah, well, I was meaning public.
Yeah, so you have a guy like Ben Rich who was in charge of the secret projects at the Skunk Works at Area 51, who just before he died in the late 90s said, he says, we have the technology to take ET home now. He says, but these are locked up. These technologies are locked up in black projects. And he said, literally, it would take an act of God to ever get them out to benefit the public. Now, is that sick or what?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty sick.
Yeah, so I was like, well, why develop them if the whole world can't benefit from them?
Right, and is part of the reason because it was done in a different dimension, and people were benefited too much by it for the ones in our dimension who want to hold us back, or my mind just runs away.
Well, there you go, Dolly. Now I suggest that you mentioned earlier about angels. Do I believe in angels? I have two videos that I recommend you watch where I've really dealt with the occult. And there is a big occult component to all this research. And the first video is called The Aeon of Horus, which is the occult history of NASA.
AEON?
AEON. Yeah, if you click on my video list there, list of my videos.
Hey, yeah, let me
UFO TV YouTube links. If you click on that, scroll down, you'll find The Aeon of Horus, the occult history of NASA, and its companion, the follow-up, Aeon of Horus Part 2, Aliens and Demons.
There it is. I couldn't find it. There it is.
Well, you might find these very interesting.
Yeah, I just was too sick, Jim, to really research your stuff, and I want to. So as I'm getting stronger, I'm going to be doing it. Yeah. And you probably will be hearing more from me because I'll have questions galore.
Oh, I'm afraid of that. Yeah. Well, anyway, these two, this is an extraordinary body of research that I kind of fell into here, which, starts to deal with the occult. And are aliens really aliens? Or are aliens really demons? Or, if you ask the question and you take go far enough down the rabbit hole, you start to ask, well, what is reality? What is the real? Are there really aliens and demons out there? Or are we interacting with hyperdimensional entities that can take on any form they want to? Aliens, demons, angels, whatever. And that's the wild card in all this. What ultimately you have to ask, what is really reality?
I know. After my mind-blowing today, I absolutely am to that place where I have gone down a rabbit hole.
Well, right. You wouldn't be doing this show and I wouldn't be on it today if we hadn't slipped down a rabbit hole here.
Holy cow. I mean, I've really gone down a deep one this time.
I hear you. Yeah.
And I'm so trying to wrap my brain around it. And Jim, wow. And then you've got all this interesting stuff. Yeah. So,
hopefully I have, there's just a few pieces to the puzzle that I've uncovered here. And we all have to work together to find these puzzle pieces and then try to fit them all together and link the dots.
And try to remember them the way we find them.
Yeah.
Yes. So you definitely believe in occult trying to take over things.
Well, occult means hidden. And I believe there's a lot of hidden knowledge.
Yes.
Hidden knowledge that is a huge component to the UFO issue, and which links up with secret societies, which links up with like Freemasonry or the Nazi SS. And there's we all think that these are all separate entities from the UFO issue, but the deeper you dig into it, you find, oh my God,
they're all intertwined,
are all interwoven.
Yes,
these threads, they all interwoven in a great big ball, and you're trying to, follow these threads to find out what the truth is, and what is the real truth here. But the occult is secret knowledge that has been preserved for centuries, that understands, and we're only beginning to understand it publicly, in the concept of quantum physics. Quantum physics essentially says that the universe itself is one consciousness. It's not that the stars and space and planets out there, and there's absolutely nothing but vacuum in between them. No, that vacuum actually is a field, an energy field, a conscious energy field that the ancient occultists on this planet fully understood and knew how to interact with.
Oh, wow.
And that's what we're just starting to, there's nothing new under the sun. All this knowledge has been known before with different names. Mm-hmm. What we call the quantum field, the ancient occultists called it the etheric field, the ether. Mm-hmm. But it's, once you understand how it works, and Nikola Tesla in 1909 described fully how to manipulate that etheric field. And that is, Dolly, that is ancient occult knowledge, occult science. So we're just relearning what was lost thousands of years ago.
I keep saying, especially lately, I've been on this kick. I keep saying we are at a point where we really need to remember.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Not that we're learning things. It's that we need to remember.
Exactly.
What we knew. And
well, I think our little discussion right now is just a part of that. It's just a part of that. This is a process that's unfolding on the planet right now. And we are remembering it. So wait a minute. I know this stuff from somewhere else. I don't know how I know it or where I know it, but it sounds familiar to me. It makes sense. So somewhere, locked away in my DNA somewhere, that knowledge still exists.
Yeah. And things like, I have been remembering some things. Right. And it blows my mind for a little while, and then I think, well, why didn't I remember it before?
Well, everything in its own time.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm beginning to really enjoy life as my life is running out. I wish it could have been earlier.
Well, yeah, I know. I know what you mean. I thought, wow. I wish I'd known this information, when I first met Wendell in 1980.
Yeah.
As I look what I've gained since then. And, so yeah. So I try to share it. I try to share it in as much as I can. Never dreamed, Dolly, I never dreamed I'd come down this road. Not in a million years.
I did.
Growing up as that kid back in Ohio, if you'd have told me this is where your life is going, you are crazy. You're out of your mind.
Yeah.
But here we are, so I don't know.
I wonder why all of a sudden people are remembering, and we seem to be at a different space mentally, emotionally, knowledge-wise. In my opinion, we're a lot farther along than I ever dreamed we would be, like even 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, what is it that made this boom happen that we're where we are now versus like 10 years ago. And how much farther, how much more is it going to be 5 years down the road?
Well, now you're asking the big question, aren't you, Dolly? Now you're asking the big question. Well, I think my own personal quantum leap here is just buying a computer. Because it's like having access to an unbelievable range of information.
Yes.
That before I was like, well, if I have to get off my butt and go down to the library and dig this stuff out, I'd be less inclined to do it. But if I can just sit here at my desk and answer any damn question I can think of just by clicking a button, it's like, whoa. It's like, think of the quantum expansion of consciousness that is just in itself, and the internet and YouTube and all this stuff. But then that brings to the next question. It's like, ooh, where are we going with artificial intelligence?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like at some point.
I did study up on that, Jim. I did.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Holy cow.
Yeah, Dolly, is that what they're talking about now is like in the next few years that we can just download our consciousness into a computer and live forever. What do you think of that one? How about that?
I don't want to do that. I don't want to get on that train.
Well, guess what? These quantum physicists are beginning to ask the question, are we already in somebody's computer virtual reality program that we call life?
Yeah, that's scary.
There's a tough one, isn't it?
Holy cow. Yes, I've gone down that rabbit hole too.
Yeah. So it's like, I keep asking, what is the real? What is the real?
I know. And then when I learned today, I don't know what's real. Oh my gosh. I'm in such a state of flux right now.
Well, anyway, I think as long as you're having fun asking the questions, and it's, to me, it's fun to expand consciousness and so forth. Yeah, I'm having fun with it. I'm enjoying it, and I enjoy sharing it. And so that's when it's not fun anymore, I won't do it.
I don't know when it won't be fun anymore because we just seem to be opening more doors.
Right.
And windows.
I think about my consciousness and awareness as a kid and things that I accepted as truth as a kid that, it's like pulling the skin off an onion. There's another layer and another layer and another layer.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I thought I understood everything. It's like, and then, one day you wake up, I have to learn everything from scratch all over again.
Yeah.
So it's just this constant re-evaluating everything that you accepted as truth over and over and over. And being able to do that and comfortably.
Right.
Dolly, there's so many people out there that cannot have their truth challenged in any way, shape, or form. This is the way it is. End of story. Yeah. And some people simply cannot handle asking these kinds of questions. But for me, it's like, I want to know what the truth is no matter where it takes me.
Yeah. Well, if they don't want to know the truth, then don't ask for it.
Don't ask, right.
Yeah. That's what I tell people. If you don't want to know how I really feel, don't ask me.
And don't ask, don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Mandela Effect?
No.
I'm not either, and I need to know that now. I'm going to have to I probably will be up for the next 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
Because I need to know some things that I am so ignorant of. I don't remember, or I'm just plain ignorant of.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not familiar with Mandela Effect.
Well, maybe. Okay, I'm sorry to jump in here.
Oh, please, Colleen.
Hey, jump.
No.
Well, we watched a video last night, this morning, which was one of the reasons I was so late getting back to my computer, on the Mandela Effect. And what it addressed was that I don't know how much of the Bible you ever studied or anything, but when I was a kid, part of Sunday school was memorizing certain verses of the Bible.
Yes.
And it appears that some passages, words have been changed. Like where they talk about pouring wine into old wineskins. Now the Bibles say bottle.
And describe the bottle breaking.
Yes, and I remember memorizing these things as pouring the wine into wineskins and the wineskin bursting.
Yes.
And it's not just the new Bibles, that have been changed for a reprint, because somebody might not know what a wineskin is.
Right.
It's the old Bibles that have changed as well. So we were watching that, and I think most all of us are like really, really freaked out about that. How the hell did they change Grandma's Bible? Kind of stuff. And that's kind of what they're discussing as the Mandela Effect. And I didn't know if you were familiar with any of that.
Do you, Colleen, do you have like a definition for Mandela Effect?
No, I really don't. I just know that that's what they were calling it. And I don't know if it's from Mandela, who died and then died again years later. It's a timeline, sort of.
Okay.
The timeline has changed. That's what they're saying. Whatever they're calling it, and I have to admit, I have not gotten my Bibles out, one, because they're like in another room full of dust and stuff, to check on it. Dolly, have you?
Oh, you better believe it. When I walked in the house today, and that already had Grandma Howard's Bible out and was screaming at me about how things were changed in the Bible. And it took her 5 or 10 minutes to try to get through to me that the words in my grandma's Bible are different today than they were when I was studying it as a kid. My mind is blown.
Okay. What I got here, the Mandela Effect is a term for where a group of people all misremember the same detail, event, or physicality. It's named after the instance in which a large group of people all shared the same memory that Nelson Mandela died prior to his actual 2013 death. Back in the 80s, they all believed he died in the 80s, when in fact he didn't. So that's a question where a collective belief becomes a truth in and of itself, whether it's true or not.
Well, the strange thing about this wineskin thing, because I remember as a child asking, what's a wineskin?
Right.
Yeah.
Because you got grapes that have skin, and I'm like, well, you couldn't put it in that, because that'd turn into a raisin skin. But I remember asking that question, and now it says bottle. I don't know that. Did they have a word for bottle back then? And then there's another thing where it says to give your money to the bank.
Yeah. In the Bible.
And I'm like, banks? I thought the Knights Templar set up banks.
No, not necessarily. No, banks are actually from Babylon.
It even says
Back, yeah, our economic system actually is Babylonian. But there's a larger context here, and I'd like to approach that, which goes back to the original Hebrew Bible, the Hebrew Torah, where you did not, when you translated the Torah, you did not dare change one letter. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Because the Torah is not just a story. Those letters are codes. If you change one letter, you change the code.
Uh-huh.
There's a subliminal code written here. Okay. And Hebrew scholars translating the Torah absolutely knew that. You do not ever change one letter. Because you change the letter, you change the code.
Change the code. Wow.
Okay. So that's something that, most fundamentalists have no concept of. But,
when you grew up, weren't you taught, well, let me say it this way. I was taught, and I have seen many pictures of the lamb laying with the lion.
Yes.
You remember that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It was in my Bible. I memorized it.
My granddaddy was a fundamentalist minister, so I remember all this stuff.
You know what the Bible says now? Isaiah 11:6.
Mm-hmm.
The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb.
Okay.
And the leopard shall lie down with the kid and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together.
Okay.
It has changed from lion to wolf, laying with the lamb. Well, it's in writing. It's in my Bible.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I suggest that you go do a little homework and find out who's paying for these new Bibles.
But Jim,
this
I is my Grandma Howard's Bible.
Yeah.
From before I was born. And when I read it when I was a kid, it said lion. And now today, the word wolf is in this Bible that has not been out of our family. See what's blowing my mind here? Who changed this? How'd they change it? Where the hell did this stuff come from? Who am I now?
So you're saying the Bible itself?
The Bible itself.
The
Jim.
text in the Bible itself changed?
Yes. I know. And that was trying to tell me that, and I said,
okay.
I was not understanding that.
That's a whole nother ballgame. Okay. So.
Exactly.
Did we shift timelines?
There you go. What happened, Jim?
Oh, very interesting. Wow. That's a whole another phenomenon by itself, isn't it? Ooh, dear.
And that's not the only example. I have researched this since Colleen put it in our little chat here.
Okay.
I have researched it in my Bible. And the Bible verses I memorized. Now in my grandma's old Bible, the words are changed. I don't even know words anymore. How did this happen? And it's not just the King James Version. Net has checked out a version she has. It's more modern English. I have a few more different versions of the Bible. I'm going to check those out later, but I ran out of time. Right.
I have noticed that they are rewriting the Bibles now to sound more modern.
Yes, and I have those versions too.
We have a population out there that's, it's not as bright as it used to be. So you have to explain it, and that's fine. You can rewrite these Bible stories, to sound more contemporary. But it's like, well, how much is really being lost here? And at some point, there's a fog over to where it's like, it's not even close to what was originally intended. Right.
But that's what I thought Annette was saying. In the modern version Bibles, they've changed these words. But
But in fact, they are doing that, yes.
Well, yeah, they are. But the words have changed in my grandma's old Bible. I cannot.
In my grandma's Bible, it hasn't been off the shelf in 40 years. It's like, we got a problem here.
Yes, we have a problem.
That's amazing. Okay, I had not heard that one, but that's,
Well, I'm sure on Say What, they're going to put the links into what
Yeah.
what Colleen was, where she sent us. So, and first Nancy put a link in, so I'm watching that thinking, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on there? Cleaned that one up, didn't I, Colleen?
Yes, you did.
So then I watched that one, and then Colleen put one, oh, wait till you see this one. And the first one was like 20 minutes. The next one was 50-some minutes. It took me 2 hours to get through it because I had my Bible open. I was comparing what I was learning on there to my Bible because I could not believe what I was hearing. And I'm sure they're going to get way more into it in the next show.
Well, Dolly, I just wish you could come to Tucson in October. We're doing a presentation we're doing a conference actually called the Transformational Shift Conference.
Oh.
And I'm going to be speaker at that conference. And one of the presentations, or the presentation I plan to do, is called The Final Frontier Human Consciousness, which addresses the whole concept of how do we perceive this 3D reality that we call life in the first place. Okay?
Uh-huh.
And this 3D world we look at out here we think is real, and we think it's solid, and it's like, it's nothing more than vibrational energy codes that are translated in our own minds. Our mind translates these abstract energy codes into a linear, three-dimensional virtual reality that we call life.
Okay.
Okay? So it's like, well, maybe there's a glitch in your coding. Because you have to, if that's true, then that Bible you had, you created that in your own mind. So maybe there was a subtle change in the whole fabric of how you process your three-dimensional reality that altered the code or the words in that Bible. Think about that one.
I can't swallow that one. Sorry, Jim. I'm
That's
just completely rejecting that one.
I got you. When I first heard that, it's like that I couldn't believe it either. But so wait a minute. How does the mind actually create what we call 3D reality? And
why would it create it in every Bible?
Good question.
I mean, how did it happen in everyone's Bible? And Bibles have been, you know how Bibles get put aside and hidden in boxes, packed away in the attic.
Yeah. I've got some antique Bibles here on my own.
Oh, gosh.
So, yeah, but...
I would love to come to that conference, but there's no way I can.
See, and this is, after 40 years or 35 years, this is the question I ask about UFOs. Is, are they really real? Or is it a glitch in the Matrix? Is it a glitch in how I'm perceiving this reality that translates as a UFO?
But you aren't the only one that glitch is affecting. How do you explain that one?
That's part of the puzzle, isn't it, Dolly?
Oh, Jim.
Part of the puzzle.
You're making me go nutser.
I came across an incredible video series called Holographic Disclosure. Mm-hmm. And if you get a chance, I encourage you to watch it. But there's a disclaimer at the beginning of this. This video is going to challenge everything you think you know about reality. And so I watched it, and I was just absolutely spellbound. I don't agree with all of their conclusions, but it was certainly mind expanding. And if you get a chance, a Holographic Disclosure.
Holographic.
And it's a multi-part video documentary. But it's very entertaining, and it's absolutely challenging. So when you think you know what the real is, so you watch this. And have you seen the movie The Matrix?
Oh yeah, I've watched that many times because I couldn't wrap my brain around it.
Well, it takes some effort to wrap your mind around it. But you remember when Neo sees the black cat in the movie? And then he sees it again, he has that deja vu. Uh-huh. And they say, oh, it's a glitch in the Matrix. Oops, that's a glitch in the Matrix. So I think there's little hints here and there that there's little glitches here and there that after when you start paying attention, wait a minute, this thing isn't as real as we've been told it is. So I think maybe the changes that are happening now, that this whole fabric of reality, so-called reality, is going through a major change. And probably has been since 2012. I think there's a major energy shift that's going on right now.
So, Jim, we got a big question for you now, seeing as I led you down that path.
Oh, here we go.
Are you willing to sit in another 2 hours and stay with us on Say What?
Right now?
Yeah, today.
No,
At
not
6
today.
o'clock. Oh,
No,
okay.
I'd love to. But no, 2 hours is plenty for me today.
Yeah.
But thank you. Listen, we can schedule it for another time.
Oh, there you go, Colleen.
There you go, Colleen.
Okie dokie. We will do that.
Okie beabadokie. Colleen knows where she can find me.
I do.
Yeah.
Well, there's one thing that is just well, there's several things watching that video that have freaked me out, to a degree, because I don't freak out totally, usually. And that is that in this new one is, when did this change? I want to know if there's Bible readers out there who read their Bible every single day, and then they read it one day and then go in the next day, because I want to know the date. When did this happen?
Good point. Now, Colleen, is there a video about the Mandela Effect?
Yes, there is. I don't have it at the tip of my fingers at the moment, Jim, but I'll sure get that to you.
I'd like to see, if it's on YouTube, I'd like to see it.
It is. Now, another thing, and I think this is more important than the wineskin bottle lion lamb,
right,
is that they put words in Jesus' mouth, and instead of him saying, if people want to know stuff, or if people question me, and I'm sorry, I don't remember, I'm sure Annette knows.
it.
Okay. Where instead of the word show, or shew, S-H-E-W, like in show me, they have changed that word to slay.
No, that's wrong. I mean, that's a completely...
Wait, let me read
totally
it to you.
changes the whole context.
It does, and that's very concerning.
That's
Here we go.
That's not translate, that's editing. That's
Luke
re-editing the whole concept.
19:27. But those mine enemies, which would not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me. It's in the Bible. I have never read things like that out of Jesus' mouth.
No.
No, because Jesus was all about forgive and let them do their thing, and you do your thing, give to God what's God's, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but these days Jesus would not be considered politically correct. So
well, he wasn't then either.
That, right?
He wasn't then either.
Yeah, right.
But all of this stuff, okay, if we're noticing this, what else has changed?
Well,
like Colleen says, when did it change? And how will we ever know the truth now?
If you follow the history of the Bible and how it's been written, especially the translated Bible, not the not the original Latin Bible, but it's like just about every potentate that came down the pike decided to rewrite the Bible to his own political ends. And that is certainly what Mr. King James did. So it's like, it's that old game playing telegraph where you get a line of people all in a circle and you whisper in one ear, and by the time you get the story back to the original person who whispered it, it's a completely different story. And I think over the centuries, a lot of that has happened to the Bible. And if you study the Constantine and the creation of the Christian Bible to begin with in Rome, in the Vatican, it's like they wrote it to suit themselves. So where is the truth in this too? Where's the real? There's so much of this could be so dangerously twisted to follow political ends. It's like to benefit political ends. And that's what Constantine did from the get-go. What the real Jesus actually said, it's a toss-up, how much, if any, of the quotes in the Bible could actually be attributed to this Yeshua who lived in Judea, 2,000 years ago. What did this guy really say? And there's little hints in there that said, wow, this guy knows quantum physics, for crying out loud. He knows that we're all connected. He says, what you do to the least of these, you've done to me. Well, that's quantum physics that says we're all one consciousness. Jesus said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. That's quantum awareness, for God's sake. So it's like, on one level, this guy is this incredibly brilliant, and then it kind of collapses into this drivel where it's like, don't pay any attention to what I said, just worship me. Just worship me. Make me an object of worship, and don't pay any attention to what I had to say. And I think that's fitting somebody's political ends.
Yeah.
And somebody's got a political agenda, and let's say, don't pay too much attention to what the man said. We'll just worship him, and everything will be happy ever after. I think Jesus had some important things to say, and that's why he said them.
And I think he was edited.
Heavily. Oh man. Absolutely. Yeah, so, it's like, this is just, part of the deal, trying to find out what's the real. What's the really truth here?
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to what the Pleiadians told me, that what you want, you are. Jesus said, seek the kingdom of God. I said, where is the kingdom? The kingdom is within. The kingdom of God is in you. You don't have to go looking for it. It's already inside of you.
Right.
Well, that's what we think he said. We may have to go reread that and see what it says now.
Oh, yeah, I wonder what it says now, for God's sake.
Yeah, well, you gotta go to the Pope, and he'll fix you up on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
So you let your imagination go wild. But no, ultimately, and it's like St. Francis said, what we are looking for is what is looking. So I think there's really profound esoteric truths out there if you have the ear to hear them.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, I'm so glad you joined me, Jim. It's time to wind down.
I know this is great fun.
Holy cow, I enjoyed it.
We didn't even scratch the surface here.
I know. My gosh. And I thought, oh gosh, what am I going to talk with him about? And, I fuss and stew, and we could go on for another couple hours at least.
Really? Well, there's lots more where that came from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you know what the archons are?
No. See? Here we go.
Whole show.
Let's go. All right, I'll be in touch with you. We'll have to set up another show.
Okay. Yeah.
I wanted to thank you for doing my intro for Durfee. Dolly reads for you.
Oh, sure. My pleasure. Yeah. And I'm still doing shows with Yvonne Palermo.
Uh-huh. Where'd she go?
The Groovy Bean. At the moment she's on PITN Network.
Okay.
Paranormal in the Night. And we're going to be we've been doing lots of shows that we're going to kind of trim it down to just one show a week. That seems to be a little more manageable.
Yeah, it's really hard doing a lot. One time a week sometimes is a killer for me.
I used to do a live TV show every Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for 7 years. And even that, because I was working full time at the time. So by the time Friday night rolled around, I was like just struggling to stay awake on set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But really, and to do, I would rather, Yvonne and I talked about this today, I would rather do a quality show than a quantity of shows.
Yeah.
We do one show a week I'm really focused and we're really on top of our subject, than try to do, dozens of shows and just being too tired to really care after a while.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. I don't think the listeners understand what all goes into just one show.
Oh, and this is, doing radio is a piece of cake. Imagine doing a TV show. We have you have set directors and cameras and lighting and all this sound equipment and all this, and it's incredibly complicated. So yeah, it's like, but even, doing a good radio show, you want to give it the time and the energy to do it properly.
Right. And to provide the listeners with what they want to hear.
Yeah. Well, the listeners will let you know.
They do. They do.
Don't they?
That's one of the reasons you're here, because they all wanted to hear you.
Really? Well, thank you. I'm honored to hear that. That's very kind of you.
They like you. They wanted to hear more of you, from you.
Yeah.
So I was happy you said yes.
Well, I have to kind of blame that on Yvonne. We did a show with, I think was it on Haggy Shack, Colleen, with Dan Willis?
Yes.
Back February? Yeah. And I was so impressed by Yvonne and what she was doing. I said I would never co-host a show ever again. I'll be a guest, but I'll never be a co-host. But I was so impressed by Yvonne and what she's accomplishing that I thought, well, okay, I'd be happy to help her. So now I'm on all kind of shows. So it's like one thing leads to another, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I think what needs to be done gets done one way or another.
Doesn't
Whether
it?
you're a willing partner or not.
Yeah. Well, if the universe has a plan for you, it will tap you on the shoulder. And
That's
that's
right.
precisely what's happened here.
Well, okay, I have to say thank you very much to you, Jim. I hope all you listeners enjoyed it as much as I did, because I did enjoy it. And I will be in touch with you, Jim, for we can set up another time, another day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Colleen.
Yes.
You want to lead us in to say what?
Well, first I'll lead you out of Dilly Dallying in Dollyworld.
Thank you.
And then we'll lead in to say what, and thank you again, Jim.
You bet. As always, Colleen, thanks.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Colleen.
Thanks, Dolly.
Love you all, everybody. Thanks, Colleen. Love you.
Love you.